What's up, YouTube? HPJ here, and I'm coming to you guys with a revamp deck profile. This one is for the Performage Pendulum deck, which started off as Pepe. So the evolution of Pepe completely changed throughout its existence, starting from, I believe, the early days of Trick Clown. Not Trick Clown, Clown Blade. I keep calling it Trick Clown because that was one of the biggest monsters in it. To what was the domination of the Pendulum era, all the way until the last couple of Pendulum cards were hit, thanks to the most recent ban list in the TCG. So the reason for me going back is actually because I wanted to redo these decks. One, in better sound quality. Two, because they really didn't get the full revamp treatment that they should have. And I did want to apologize for that. Just at the time, location of recording wasn't well. Recording itself did go through, but it was just some uglies of everything. So to remake up for that, I wanted to do a redo of those pendulum decks, and hopefully, don't worry, I'm not going to do a whole bunch of them, but I just wanted to do enough of them to where they can come onto YouTube again and at least get the likes and the views that they deserve. So let's go into the deck. I'm going to do it like I always, like I've been doing it. Monsters, spells, traps, and extra deck, and then go over the cards themselves. So for my monster lineup, I'm running 3 copies of Performance Pal. I keep calling it Pal. Performage Damage Juggler, 3 copies of Performage Trick Clown, 3 copies of Performage Hat Tricker, 2 copies of Plush Fire, and 2 copies of Mirror Conductor. For the Draco engine of this deck, I'm running 3 copies of Vector Pendulum and 1 copy of Luster Pendulum. Then to follow them, I'm running 3 copies of Archfiend Eccentric, 1 copy of Masked Chameleon, 1 copy of Glow Up Bull, 3 copies of Gigabyte, and 2 copies of Archfiend Eater of Nefarious Archfiend Eater of Nefariousness, and 1 copy of Anari Fire. So that wraps up pretty much all my monsters. And then for my spells and traps, hold on just 1 second, let me get to them. I gotta make sure everything is organized. Alright, for my spells, 3 copies of Wavering Eyes, 2 copies of Instant Fusion, 1 copy of Painful Decision, and 1 copy of Foolish Burial. And then 1 Raigeki, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Draco Face Off. I don't know why I called that Foolish Burial, but Foolish Burial right there. So then that's them. And then for my traps, 1 copy of Solemn Warning, 1 copy of Vanity's Emptiness. And then for the extra deck, pretty much self-explanatory of its own. 2 copies of Ignister Providence, the was it Blazing? Yeah, the Blasting Draco Slayer. 1 copy of Dino Power, 1 copy of Master Pendulum, 1 copy of Performance Mage Trapeze Magician. Then following up is Elder Entity Norton, Neteria Beast, and King of the Feral Imp. And then following those guys are Castell, Dagesso Emerald, Cowboy, Abyss Dweller, Core Gorgon, 101, and 103. So, I do not know where a lot of the other monsters fall in the timeline of creation, because I don't know when, was it Giant Hand was in play. I do know if it's reprint, but I don't, I can't for the life of me remember how far into it was. But pretty much the Pendulum setup is pretty much like this. After we lost, what is it? Who did we lose? We lost Lavalval Chain. We pretty much went for any variation that could clear up the entire um, Clown Blade engine when they did get their release of their Pendulum monsters. So the deal is Hat Tricker can summon itself. If there are two or more monsters on the board, Trick Clown can start to summon itself when it's sent to the graveyard once a turn. And Damage Juggler can absorb damage by discarding itself, then banishing itself to search for a Performage monster and add it to your hand. Now we have both Mirror Conductor and Plush Fire to talk about. Plush Fire, for the reason why it's banned, is Plush Fire has the ability where if a Performage monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon it from your Pendulum Zone, then take 500 points of damage. In combination with Trapeze Magician, oh, let me grab that. Trapeze Magician, in its effect, if you can have Trapeze Magician already on the field, then Damage Juggler's 500 points damage is pretty much null and void. Then on top of that, if it was destroyed by a card effect, you can search your deck and no, you can search something when a Performer Power monster is destroyed, and then you can search your deck for a Performer Power and add it to your and special summon to the field. I don't even Pal Mage. I'm sorry, I keep getting Mage and Pal mixed up. It's been a minute since I literally had to use or conduct anything with these cards. But that's pretty much like the whole setup right there. And then you can search for Mirror Conductor, who was your other scale. And then with Mirror Conductor's ability, if you had like really hefty attack the monsters you need to get over, swap their attack and defense, and then Conductor can help you get over them. What else can Conductor help you get over? Oh, he can combine with Ragnar Zero, and then she can pop the monster, and then he can go in for the kill. Or she can go in for the kill, and then you get a +1 because she popped the monster. So, that is the mages. Then going over the Dracos. The Draco engine wasn't fully complete at the time. So, a lot of the Draco stuff was pretty much here and there. But the one thing about it is that, well, I can speak for myself and say I didn't have multiples of Luster Pendulum because Luster Pendulum was still hot. I can find two more Luster Pendulum, being now that it's at 3. And the whole Pendulum mechanic is dead at this point for a lot of Pendulum decks. Unless they have like Link monsters who can support them. Or you can cash out and find a Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, and he can help you go from there. But the whole ordeal with the Pendulum engine itself and just the setup that it has is that with Luster Pendulum, you're popping your own Pendulum scales and then searching for copies of those monsters. It pretty much was a combo right there with Plush Fire, which is why Plush Fire ended up getting banned, but that guy ended up hitting the one because it was the tuner, and pretty much the only big resolve that most of the Draco Slayer cards could really benefit from. Then when you look at Luster Pendulum was pretty much just an easier Draco monster to pop and search for, but while it was in the Pendulum Zone, it made sure nothing in the Pendulum Zone had an effect. Which is good against Mirror Match, which is good against Cleaford, because they were really still one of the stronger Pendulum decks out there till this got all of its full power. Even while it was rising up, it was still something that could take out Cleaford. And then it was just an overall sense of once I get my skills, everything is pretty much fine by that point. Even with access to Painful Decision and Painful Decision, Foolish Burial, and the effects of Wavering Eyes, you still had a lot of options to really search for a lot of your pieces and then build up from there. The Archfiend Eccentrics were pretty much just exile forces. If you were building up your scale at that point, she was pretty much there to pop stuff while she was in the spells. If you had enough of a low scale, of course you could summon her to pop monsters. But at the initial point, I think that's just when they normal summon her or pendulum her out and then pop. But I think it was really harder to later on to really get the use of the pendulum summon with Archfiend Eccentric. Glow Bulb and Mask Chameleon are pretty much two tuners to help get the Nat Beast. Mask Chameleon helped get Ignister, to the board, and then because of the low stats on all the Draco monsters, you can easily get them, and all you really have to focus on was your extra deck and summoning from there, which wasn't too hard. And Global was just additional support if needed. Okay, and then the Gigabytes, the Archfiend Eater, and the Anari Fire were just my little techs to get through the downfall that was Clownblade, because I didn't really get the Clownblade stuff till late, and then just really trying to abuse what little bit I could that these guys had to offer, such as summoning each other, popping stuff, and then being floaters at that point. So that was the 6 of them. The spells pretty much explanatory of their own. The Wavering Eyes was a good counter and a good search out. It ultimately ended up being its own demise later on. But the whole ordeal with this card is that, pop the scale, search for a scale, banish a card, and then search for another Wavering Eyes if this stuff was set up together. And then chaining them to deal with your opponent's Wavering Eyes, especially in the mirror matches. Instant Fusion, Norton target, and if you really want to draw into these to make sure you got into Norton. I know most people at that point had multiple Nortons. I don't. So the Instant Fusion was like, if I draw the Instant Fusion, I draw the Instant Fusion. I really was using this for either Norton or Mephiles at that point to get into, the Harpies and stuff like that. But I think Mephiles came a little later. Painful Decision, Draco Face Off were just combo cards with the True Draco engine. Raigeki Dark Hole was our monster removal. Foolish Burial was just a way to feel Mass Chameleon, Glow Up, Bulb effects, and then just to override, just get into a lot of other pieces, especially with your Trick Clown, your Damage Juggler, if you need to get them. And then Emptiness and Warning were pretty much two of the big trap cards in the game, because at that point people were not using a lot of traps, unless they were using the effects of their monsters and stuff to get over things. So that was that. The extra deck, you're pretty much just focusing on your Draco engine with Dino Power, Ignister, and Master Pendulum. The thing is, you would need Luster's help to really get a lot of these onto the board, but once you did, you had your protection, you had your recorrection, and everything you needed to stack onto your Pendulum cards, thanks to the 3 of these guys. Then Trapeze Magician was there to just keep the spellcasters going, and then on top of that, making sure that one of your monsters can do the double attack and inflict the double damage. And then if you were taking anything from burn effects, Trapeze Magician was there to help with that as well. Norton was your staple instant fusion target, your rank 4 target, your rank 4 engine creator. Materia Beast was anti-pendulum, and really good against very heavy spell decks as well, like Shaddoll for one of the biggest instants. King of the Feral Imp helped you go get a lot of your reptiles, put them to the board. King of the Feral Imp was actually more useful with the next variation of Pepe, and the amount of things that he really could help with. Castell was removal. Emerald is your Pot of Avarice. Dweller was really good against BA, really good against Shaddoll to shut down the graveyard, really good anti-meta. Cowboy was your burn damage, if you ran into an opponent who was using Magician, so then it would easily help you get over Magician. And then I'm running Korra Gorgon. I feel like Korra Gorgon could have been Giant Hand. I need to check on that as well to see how far Giant Hand was in before, around the time the Pendulum stuff came. 101 was good against Exciton Knight before Exciton Knight got banned. But then it just became really useful against a lot of other things and easy rank 4 to make. And Ragnar Zero in combination with Mirror Conductor wasn't free draw. So that is pretty much it for this revisit to Performage Magician. I keep saying Performer Pal. I don't mean to say Pal. I keep meaning to say Magician. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps out tremendously. Other than that, that's pretty much it for HPJ. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching, and see you later.